Hello, everyone. I am Donna Miller, your host of this and every episode of Small Business Evolution. Our goal here every month is to help you become a more successful business owner by interviewing fabulous successful business owners like Casey Carpenter. At C3 Workplace, we've helped thousands of companies to start and grow. We do that by providing on-demand office space, all types of back office support, bookkeeping, and educational programs. And this TV show, Small Business Evolution, is certainly part of our educational programs. And you know, here at C3, we believe companies should be a force for good. We believe you should teach what you know, and we believe you should help the next person along. So I love doing this show every month because it's really aligned with who we are and why we do what we do. So, Casey Carpenter, better known as the Sales Breakthrough Coach. Welcome.
Donna, thank you. It is fabulous to be here today.
Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit about Casey's journey to where she is now and how she helps her clients and thereby helping you crack the code on how to be a better salesperson. The truth is, being an entrepreneur is hard. You have to wear many hats. You have to be good at many things. But truthfully, you got to be able to close a sale.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So, Casey, start us off. Tell us about, I know you came out of corporate, which is very common for many of our clients.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit about the journey that took you to become the Sales Breakthrough Coach.
It's quite an amazing journey, and I want to inspire anyone who thinks that he or she cannot be good at sales. I started in a very humble place. I don't know if you know this story. Really quickly, I started as a sales telemarketer because I had an apartment and I couldn't pay my rent. I literally had $11 left over after I paid my bills, and I said, I've got to do something to make more money, and I started telemarketing. I was abysmal.
That's a tough job for anyone.
Yes, and I struggled and I struggled, but finally I started to get it. I was so frustrated at failing, and I saw other people make commissions, and I said, how do they do it? And one woman who I call like the sales diva, she said, you just have to work on your posture and your confidence. And I took that to heart, and I started really working on even the way I sat at my workstation. And I would get there early and practice my scripts, because back then you had scripts on flip cards.
Yes.
So fast forward, I mastered that, and I said, well, gee, maybe I could get a real sales job, face-to-face selling. And again, I stumbled, and again, I failed the first time. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this one more shot, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to get a really good job as an administrative assistant, because I can type really fast. Seriously. And it worked because I got the right coaching, I got the right mentoring. I went to a boot camp that literally taught me how to stand, speak, deliver, and sell. And that's why I think we all can do it.
Yes, I agree. And it's funny, I didn't know that we shared the same history. And honestly, I haven't thought of this in a very long time. But when I was in high school, I telemarketed for the New York Times home delivery. And I remember sitting in that little tiny booth, reading that script and hating every minute of it.
It's brutal. It can beat you up.
Yeah.
But you get your voice. Don't you find you found your sales voice? And again, it's that posture. Without confidence, no one is going to believe you. So you've got to find the way to cultivate that.
So, did you get the third job, or did you take the administrative assistant job?
No, you know what? I not only nailed the third job, but I struggled a little bit in the beginning, and I almost got fired. They kept me because I could do an excellent presentation. I stumbled on a truth then that I teach today, and that is, if you nail your message and get the public speaking and delivery part out, you can sell anything. So yes, I eventually was promoted. I eventually led my own sales team, reaching positions like vice president, regional director of sales management, because I had a strong, solid foundation in the basics.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that I think some people are natural salespeople. To me, sales is a diagnostic, solution-driven process. So I've owned C3 Workplace for so long, I almost feel like sales is part of my DNA.
It is.
And I've never really struggled with it, but I have helped many people with it as well. And even though I felt like I had a natural ability to sell, I very much believe in paying for training, and that's what you provide to your clients, because if you're good at something, perhaps you can be great at something.
Yes.
So I think it's always worth investing that time. So one of the things you talk about often, and I know this to be a challenge for many of our watchers and many of my audience, some people feel that as an extrovert they can sell, but as an introvert they can't. I disagree with that, and I think you do as well.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about your introversion and then how you help other people as well.
Yeah, really, really good point, good question. Frankly, I think introverts do it better. Yeah, I do.
I think they do it differently and equally effective.
Well, this is
Yeah.
I guess, my attempt at being a little bit disruptive, if you will, because we listen extraordinarily well.
True.
And when you listen well, you're present, you also remember. And your clients love when you remember little facts about them, what was going on the last time, and you bring it up spontaneously. It shows you care. There is nothing so valuable as listening well. And I also feel introverts do not interrupt. So we're able to sit and hear a prospect really get their whole thought out without interrupting and being present, making them feel like they're the only person in the room. I mean, how cool is that?
I think that's very true. And I have been at networking events where I'm talking to someone and they're looking over my shoulder for the next person.
Yeah.
They may not realize they're doing that, but I think an introvert doesn't even have that in them. And so they are, I agree, they're better listeners.
Yeah.
But whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, remembering those little points that Casey mentioned is pivotal. And if you're not using a system to capture that information, because maybe I'm the only one at that age that can't remember everything you tell me, I need to write it down. I need to be able to go back to those notes. We use a CRM system, and this way, if I talk to someone 6 months from now, I can remember those little things. And the sales process is about know, like, trust, try. So I think all these different things allow you to build that trust. Now, we both know that part of selling is confidence. And confidence, as you say, is an inside game.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how our audience can work to build their confidence, because that's kind of magnetic.
It really is. It's energetic, and you know it when you see it.
Yes.
You know it when someone
Yes.
walks into a room and they command the space. And there's something about their presence that just makes you, it compels you to want to listen to them and to buy. So I encourage my clients to find, what is it about you that's really strong? What do you have going for you? Very often, we're so quick to say, well, I don't know how to do this. Well, I can't do that. I've never done that. I don't want to hear that language. I want to know what you're good at, because let's build systematically upon what you're good at. Maybe you have great eye contact. Terrific. That's a great place to start. Making eye contact builds trust.
Right.
It makes me know that I can trust you, which makes me more compelled to buy from you.
Right.
So confidence comes from identifying what you're good at and building upon it and focusing on it and getting the little wins. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, and I think those little wins add up, and that's what builds your confidence.
It does.
And it
Yeah.
is an inside job.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone else can do that for you. Some of the tools that I've used over the years to build my confidence, I am absolutely a self-proclaimed student for life. We live in an age where there is so much free content out there. You know, what are some of the people that you follow that help to keep you positive and inspired and motivated and to come across as a confident sales professional?
Absolutely. Well, one is Oprah.
Oh,
I think about where she started, again, very humble beginnings, and yet over the years she just built this dynasty. And what I like about Oprah is her humility, and she is a very sensitive person. In the beginning of her career, she would be on camera, would often cry. I'm highly sensitive as well, so I think, well, she can do it, I can do it. And there are different sales gurus who I also like Jill Conrath, who writes books about what's happening now in the industry, really powerful thought leaders. And my own parents, who always said to me, you know what, kid, you can do it, just keep trying. And that's really what it's all about.
that's great. That's great. And I think that we each need to develop. I wrote a blog many years ago and I called it the Gym for Your Genius. What are the stations that you're going to have in your gym to help make you a successful person?
Oh, that's powerful.
Right?
Yeah.
So are you going to watch Super Soul Sunday? Are you going to listen to Tim Ferriss's podcasts?
Yeah.
I think that as we feed our mind with positivity, and for me, as a Christian, it's also my morning prayer and meditation. What we fill our mind with is what we will project into the world.
So
right?
true.
Right?
And I'm glad you mentioned being a Christian. I'm a very spiritual person, and my practice in the morning is to meditate.
Yeah.
You have to ground yourself and not, jump out of bed and just start ripping and running,
Right.
because that's the energy you're going to bring with you to your customers, your clients, your prospects, and they can see that.
Absolutely
Right?
true. Absolutely true. So let's talk for a few minutes about the process of how you work with your clients. Presumably, like most sales professional consultants, you probably work for individuals, you probably work for sales managers, you probably work for corporations. Tell us a story, and you were just telling me about this fantastic story.
Oh, yeah.
In today's world, things are so small. The internet's gotten us opportunities that we never would have had before.
Yes.
You were telling me you've got an amazing success story in Australia.
I know.
Tell us the story, because it's
And
amazing.
For 15 years, I wanted to be the one who was going to Australia. And I guess maybe that's it. It's law of attraction stuff. But I, over the summer, had gotten someone who just found my ebook online and signed up for a complimentary session, and then she canceled it. So that concerned me. I thought, oh dear, what happened? And I reached out to her and asked, may we reschedule? And she said, it's just that the time zones aren't working. I thought, the time zones aren't working. California? Well, we can make that work. So I ended up uncovering that she's indeed in Australia. And I said, listen, whether you're comfortable with your sales or not, I just want to know who you are and how you found me. And this came from someone who had heard me speak, which is where most of my leads come from. I'm speaking or on a panel, and someone hears me and sees me and wants to learn more. And then they ultimately hire me. So what happened, long story short, was she did hire me. I had no intention of selling her anything on that call, but I could hear, as I was asking her about her business and her level of fulfillment, that there were Swiss cheese holes.
Ah.
And I said, I can't help but notice the things that you're struggling with. Those are my specialty, and that's my expertise. May I share with you how we might work together? And so she's hired me now 3 times.
That's fantastic. And what I want you to glean from that little story is a couple of things. Casey had no intention of selling. She was having a informational, I'm really interested in what's going on with you, and that led to a sale.
It did.
And that's really how it goes.
Yes.
In my opinion, salespeople have a little bit of a bad rap. I mean, I think sometimes when we talk about salespeople, it's like we're talking about a car salesman. And if you've bought a car recently, unfortunately, the negativity is well-founded.
Yeah.
But I think Casey and I share a similar approach to sales where it's, let's see what your situation is. Let's see what my situation is. And maybe a really good sale is if we can help each other.
Exactly.
right? So we're diagnosing and we're seeing if there's a situation, but it's okay if it doesn't work. And I think that's another way that you build confidence is by not walking into every sales situation, walk in like you have $1 million in your pocket and you don't need this sale.
Right.
Because you'll start with such a better foundation.
I love what you're saying. When I was in corporate America, I probably talked as many people out of
There you
signing
go.
up for my health
There you go.
plan than
Right.
I enrolled. Because if it's not for you, that's the worst thing I could do. That's the biggest disservice I could do is to enroll you in something that is not suitable for you. That's not a good client for me. The
Right.
energy is not going to be good.
Right.
I'd rather do the research and send you to someone else that can serve you better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that when we say no to business and then we perhaps help that person find another resource, we've probably created a raving fan.
Yes.
And that person is going to have more respect for you. Casey, let's talk about something that you push through, I push through, and successful people do. I think there is a big amount of fear when it comes to sales.
Yes.
So talk to me and talk to our audience a little bit about how you help your clients to push through that fear, dissect that fear.
Yep.
Talk to us about fear, because
Yes.
truthfully, it's a big part of selling.
Yeah, it's so real. I'm sorry, that whole false evidence appearing real. It is real. If you're scared, you're scared. And it can be paralytic fear where the brilliant
Right.
you just left the room.
Right.
And this stranger is there.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I like to say, let's look at some basic things about the way you're wired. When are your peak hours of energy?
Beautiful.
Right.
So true.
And I'm a morning person. So good thing we
So
did this in
true.
the morning. I'm a morning person, so know that. So what does that mean? Your peak business activities, the things that you find the most challenging, do them in the morning when you feel invincible. And when you have a success, keep going.
That's right.
Right? And if you peter out by 2 in the afternoon, it is okay. That would be the time that I would probably pack my briefcase when I was in the field and go and make phone calls and do admin work.
Exactly.
Nothing really
Exactly.
challenging. So know thyself. Know thy product, okay? Really know it well. Know the selling points, know the pitfalls, and be super duper honest about each of them when you're making your matches, when you're sitting with a prospective client. This will work for you because of X. I got to be honest, it won't work for you because of this. And then know your prospect,
Amen.
which means there's no excuse.
Absolutely
There are
not.
so many ways to research our potential clients today. It's really a sin to walk in and not know about them. So when you know what their potential challenges are, what their hobbies are, you have a little, I don't know, mojo in your briefcase, if you will, you can walk in there and feel really confident, a lot less scared. You may still be scared. It's okay. I still get scared. I've given, I don't know, hundreds of speeches. I still get nervous before every one, which tells me that's a good thing. I'm not overconfident.
Absolutely. You're alive.
I'm alive. I'm living. I'm a person.
Right. We should always, that little bit of fear is, for me, usually the edge of breakthrough.
Yes, it is.
Right? If I'm going to
Yes.
break through to something new,
Yes.
it's going to come with a little bit of fear.
It's the adrenaline. You
Right.
need that.
Right. And I think also, I loved what you said about using, I call it your body clock. What is your good time of day? To make your calls, to make your visits, to do your prospecting.
Yes.
And I agree with that. And by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm on paperwork because that's just not a great time for me to be pushing. Or the other thing I often think of too is it's a performance. If you can, I'm not an actor at all, but sometimes, let's face it, we get up in the morning and we don't particularly feel like doing what it is we have to do. Maybe it's a speech, maybe it's a TV episode, maybe it's a training class, maybe it's some prospecting, but you have to just put on that professional persona and push through it. And what I've found, and I imagine you might have found this with some of your clients that you work with,
Yeah.
it to some extent is like a muscle. the more you push through that fear, the more you pick up that 500-pound phone to make that phone call you don't want to make, the easier it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. After a while, you do it without really even thinking about it. It becomes habitual.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how business owners succeed. In the Earn More program that I teach, and you can see more of that on my website, and Casey is one of my alumni.
Absolutely.
We talk a lot about behavior. What's the right target market? We talked about knowing your prospect. What's the right messaging? You want to be connecting with your audience in a compelling way. But at the end of the day, you could have the greatest product, the greatest message, but if you don't get up every day and do the behavior that you need to do, you will not get any results. And for most of my clients, because I live mostly in the B2B world, picking up that phone or going to that networking event or making that presentation is not optional.
No, it's
It's
not.
how we drive results.
Absolutely.
Right. It's how we push people through our sales funnel, how we achieve our goals, how we ultimately change the world.
Yeah.
And I know that's a big statement, but I have come to believe that at C3 Workplace, it's not just about helping businesses to start and grow, but I believe I can change the world one business at a time. You mentioned Oprah at the beginning. If Oprah can do that, why not you?
That's right.
Why not you?
That's
why
right.
not me?
That's right.
And we have that obligation to do that. And I know we share that value as well.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about service. You and I believe that it's our obligation to give back to the world. So talk to us about how that fits into your professional and personal life.
Yes. Service is a huge part of what I do. It is definitely written into my business model. I would say more than 50% of what I do is service. I serve on the board of the National Speakers Association. I volunteer, I mentor, I, am very active in different chambers of commerce,
Right.
women's programs.
Right.
And it is through that I find fulfillment.
Absolutely.
And I think fulfillment needs to be a big part of your business practice. If it doesn't make you happy, then you're just not going to radiate joy. So I
Absolutely.
feel good. And also, okay, practically, when I volunteer, I can take on roles that I've not ever done before and not really be terrified of like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. It's like, I tried this. Maybe I didn't do the greatest job, but I learned and I still was in service.
And you were volunteering.
And I was volunteering.
And coming back to something you just said,
Yeah.
what is it about what you do that gives you the greatest joy?
It's when my client, who I can see has come such a long way in a short time, says, guess what, Casey? I stood up in front of 100 people and I gave my elevator pitch and I wasn't afraid. It's the aha.
Yeah.
When my clients get that, that's what I live for. I mean, I have goosebumps right now. I really do, just talking about that. It's their success.
Yeah. I have to agree. When I get an email from someone that says it wouldn't have happened, I know as a person of faith, that's God working through me.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful to be the vehicle.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah, and that they found you.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
So, this time goes so quickly.
It does.
And so I just want to come back to, as the sales breakthrough coach, do you think that anyone can create a sales breakthrough? Can anyone become a good salesperson? Yes, no, how, why?
Great question, because I originally thought, oh no, you have to be born a salesperson. I thought you had to be this cheerleader in order to be really good at sales. No, it's a skill, which means skill can be taught.
Right.
If you're willing.
Right.
So anyone can. And the biggest breakthrough you need to have is to sell yourself first.
Absolutely.
And that's that I can do it. I will do it. Every day I'm committed to doing this. I mean, I'm going to be 60 this year, so this is a big year for me. I know, woo! And I look back at what I was like when I was 28 and starting this, and I had no confidence. I had no really belief that I could be this dynamic individual who led teams and who presented. And it's because I built my skill that I'm able to do this. Let me tell you, if I can do this, you can do this.
So true. And I think that almost anything in life is an acquired skill. Certainly anything in regards to business. That doesn't mean one thing is going to be easy and another could be difficult for you, but whether it's speaking on a stage or walking into a room, some people might find this very hard to believe about me, but I'm an introvert. I know that seems a little bit crazy, but I call myself an extroverted introvert. I love speaking, I love presenting, I love doing this, but honestly, walking into a room of people I don't know is very difficult for me. But I've learned to compensate. I actually practice some small talk before I go because I'm really not very good at that. I've learned techniques to move around the room. So I guess the bottom line is, I agree with you. I think anyone can have a sales breakthrough, which ultimately will make them more successful in growing their business. So, Casey, it's been so fantastic to have you here and have this conversation.
My pleasure.
Now, I
Truly a
have,
delight.
I have a couple of rapid-fire questions that I ask all my guests.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
You sure?
I'm ready.
Fasten your seatbelts. Okay. What is the best advice you've ever received?
Oh my goodness. It is that there is no such thing as an overnight success. Because there's always a backstory. So I would see other professionals and think, oh, look at them. I could never be as good as they are. Yeah, and do you know that maybe they too couldn't pay their bills when they first started? Maybe they had $11 left over in their checking account. So there's always a story. And that means
true.
don't compare yourself to others.
Oh, that's terrible. So true. If you had a superpower to help you be successful in business, what would you want it to be and why?
Oh my gosh. I guess I would ratchet up my conscientiousness factor. I am so conscientious. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. So let's 10x that, which means that I will really attract those clients that I'm looking for this year.
Wow, that's a great one.
Yeah.
We touched on this a bit, but what's one personal habit you have that you feel really contributes to your success?
My one personal habit is my ability to plan and stick to a schedule.
Okay.
And I'm doing that now. Every morning I'm up at 6 and I thought, you don't have to get on the 7:02 train anymore. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do have to. So it's sticking to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were not the sales breakthrough coach as an entrepreneur, what profession would you like to try to attempt?
Oh my gosh, I am such a wannabe meteorologist. I love weather. I am a geek.
Would you like to give us the weather? Only kidding.
I am such a geek. And when they put those weather maps on TV, I literally try to decipher them and learn. I would have been, Janice Huff #2 or something like that.
There you go. Very good. All right. If heaven exists, and I know we both believe that, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did well by doing good.
Yay. And lastly, share a parting piece of guidance for our audience and how they might reach you.
Absolutely. You can reach me by email if you'd like, Casey@sellingsociably.com. I also have a book that is on Amazon.
Excellent.
And the book is called Introverts in Sales. Turn your peaceful power into a profitable selling machine. You can also read that if you're an extrovert, and you'll get some good tips out of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much,
Donna,
Casey, for being
this has
with
been
us today.
Delightful.
Again, I'm Donna Miller, your host of Small Business Evolution, which comes to you from C3 Workplace. You can find us on the web and all the things that we do to help companies start and grow at c3workplace.com. And until our next episode, we wish you much success in growing your business. Thanks so much for being with us here today. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.